What up, everybody? How we all doing? It's yet again another Transformer Slag podcast. Saturday night main event live stream. How we all doing? How we all hanging? It's the day before Halloween. My probably my favorite season. I don't know why I love Halloween. Always loved Halloween as a kid. I love fall. Fall has always been my favorite season. Always loved the Charlie Brown and the Peanuts cartoons, and it's just awesome stuff. So how we all doing? So for people who are new, this is the Transformer Slag podcast live stream Saturday night. We hang out, we review the news throughout the week, we take some super chats from the fans, we look at Proto Man and go, where did he go wrong in his life? Look at this face. Yeah, this is the voice that you hear Monday to Friday in the Transformer world. So let's jump into it. We're going to jump into some news, and then we'll take some super chats. It's going to be just a quiet one today. Tomorrow is Halloween, where we're going to get into the good stuff. So candy, and sweets. So first things first, let's go with something boring. So let's talk about that third quarter 2021 earnings report by Hasbro. Most people wouldn't care about this. It's not a big deal. But, at the end of the day, this does give us a small indication of the success of the Transformer brand over the past 3 to 6 months and Hasbro's confidence in it. And it gets to a point where, until we see numbers go down, until sales go down, until there's no interest in the brand, things will keep trucking on strong. And lo and behold, according to this third quarter annual report, the Transformer brand did very well. Did very, very well. In fact, compared to some of the other stuff that they're up against, like Hasbro's, let's say, Marvel Legends stuff or Hasbro's Star Wars Black Series, Transformers did very well, up 9% in its category, first-party licensed brands within the Transformers and Hasbro world, doing very good. The only thing that did better than Transformers was their Hasbro's Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering printing money trading card world. That's the only thing that really did better than anything else. But otherwise, everything was looking pretty good, and Hasbro was up 11% in revenue, aka $1.7 billion. Looking good. Yeah. Not much really more I could say. Just wanted to just put that, out there that the last 3 to 6 months Transformers were selling very well. And they attribute it mostly to the fact that the War for Cybertron Kingdom toy line was quite the success. Did very well for them. They couldn't keep them on the shelves. It was selling great. So keep that in mind in the future, because chances are if this stuff sold very well, when they're going to be developing whatever will be in the future at this point, based on this information, it's going to be an indication of that, aka Beast Wars stuff, G1 stuff, whatever happened in the past 3 months that was worth it selling so well. A lot of stuff sold out even when they did their Amazon exclusives, so keep that in mind too. Anyways, just wanted to just cover that. That's just a little thing. Let's get into some of the new figures that we learned about this week. So the first one was, of course, we were given a small little event. It was a small little stream called the 1027 Hasbro event. Hasbro's address in Rhode Island is 1027, so it was kind of like a throwback to that. And of course, the date was 1027. And the big reveal for us Transformer fans was we got to see one of our future Hasbro Pulse items that we will be getting in the near future, and it is that of Lift Ticket. Now, for people who are confused, like, who is the Lift Ticket character? The top of this image here is what the actual product is going to be, a repaint of the Earthrise hoist mold. In the middle there is what that character originally originated from, which was there was a Diaclone character called 4WD Hilux Wrecker, and this was just a robot that was piloted like all the other Diaclone stuff, and they're using that color scheme to kind of homage to that, and the character of Lift Ticket is born. Now, granted, the trademark and the idea of it primarily came from a BotCon concept that happened in, I want to believe it was the year before I started doing stuff with them. I want to believe it was 2015, 2014, maybe earlier. I know it was their most wanted year. And pretty much the trademark is just because BotCon did stuff with the G.I. Joe brand, and Lift Ticket was a G.I. Joe trademark, and they're just like, hey, let's use it here. And lo and behold, we have the hot rod colored hoist known as Lift Ticket. The Wrecker logo written on the side of him is just purely a coincidence. He is not a Wrecker in the continuity of Transformers, although that could change. He might end up in the Wreckers IDW comic that recently came out. But the Wrecker on the side actually originates from the original toy from the late 70s, imagine, and early 80s. Just a pure coincidence of anything else. The Yon WD, as it's called in Japanese. Yon WD Hilux Wrecker. So, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Again, I like the color scheme, but I have this kind of weakness for red and yellow robots, whether it be Proto Man or whether it be, Hot Rod. So it looks really good. Looks really good. The funny thing is when the original BotCon one was being done, they were going to originally call it Salvage, based off of the Transformers 2008 movie toy. The 2007 movie, but the 2008 release movie toy, Salvage, which was a red pickup truck with yellow accents and stuff. So, but in the end, they went with Lift Ticket for the G.I. Joe trademark reason, and the rest was history. So we're going to get also a new style of box for our Hasbro Pulse stuff on the bottom right there. You're going to see now each of the boxes are going to be unique. They're going to have some kind of interesting art. Instead of the boring brown that we've been used to, where it has war written across the front in Cybertronian, these are all going to be unique to themselves. So that's pretty cool. And they actually showed us for the first one we're going to see, because this one's going to be the second one, but the first one that we're going to see with this new box style for the Hasbro Pulse Generation Select stuff is that of Black Zarek. So we're going to get Black Zarek in a gigantic box with that unique art style on the front of it. Now, for Lift Ticket, he's going to be coming out May 1st of 2022. He sold out initially, but actually orders are back up. You can pre-order him as of this, live stream right now. So good news for people who did miss out. He is available for pre-order again. The numbers are up. So if you want to get him, go get him. And the same thing, Black Zarek is still up there for pre-order. And he's going to be hitting your mailbox. I believe it's supposed to be January 1st of 2022. A New Year's present, if you will. Roman has joined the Welcome to the Minicon Recruits. Welcome to the Transformer Slag podcast membership, Roman. But yeah, that's more or less it for that. What do we got here? Don't be surprised if Hasbro releases his G.I. Joe version. Well, again, it's a trademark save. So the chances are maybe they didn't plan to do anything with the Lift Ticket character in the immediate future, but there will probably be something afterwards. David Cabal is listening while driving. Well, be careful, David. Just don't look at the screen. That's all you have to do. I'm surprised a lot of people say that's how they actually consume the podcast. They do it when they're driving to work. So, yeah. Anyways, let's go into the big news that was today. So let's talk about the man, my first Transformer toy I ever owned. Let's talk about Blaster, specifically War for Cybertron Kingdom Wave 4 Voyager Blaster. This was an unexpected surprise. We knew that he was going to be in Legacy. We pretty much assumed he was going to be the ship case assortment brother of that of Bulkhead. What's up, Larry? And what's up, Aaron Archer? Both of you are in the house. Nice. But it gets to the point where it's like, I guess they need to also have some kind of a filler. According to Evan and Matt from Hasbro, they said that this blaster is going to be shipping out in the new year, specifically the January 1st of 2022. And Legacy is not going to be hitting shelves until at least April. So there's a good, from now until April, you got a good, at least, let's be nice, let's say 5 months until April. So it's something that, I guess they need to fill the shelves, and not to mention in a holiday rush season, and then even that of after the holidays, when you're going to kind of have that Boxing Day kind of blues and people wanting to buy stuff now outside of just for friends and family because of the holidays. Blaster's going to be one of those products to kind of fill up the shelf again. So interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. So about the figure itself, I think he looks fantastic. I'm really glad with how it turned out and how it looks. I love the faux speakers on the side, just so it could have a different kind of speaker set in the actual boombox mode or the ghetto blaster mode, as opposed to the robot mode. Robot mode is Super G1. Again, he was my first Transformer, so I just have so much love for this character that it's kind of a biased. So it's just, and like I said before, red and yellow Transformers, gotta love those red and yellow Transformers. I love the detail. His gun is a perfect throwback to his original G1 gun. I just love everything about it. Even the little back detail, how it has the little, it looks like 2 little AA batteries on the back, because certain versions of Generation 1 Blaster, he had a lot of different variants, but the original AM Robo from Microman worked on 2 AA batteries and was a functioning functioning AM radio. So, kind of a little throwback to that. Certain versions of G1 Blaster, there's 4 different variants of the 1985 and 1986 versions, have a battery pack kind of cover that's not removable. It kind of got molded out of it over the years. Very weird character if you're trying to collect all the different versions just from G1 alone. When we get to Eject, Eject was molded in a clear kind of blue here. The speculation, and I believe it was probably mentioned by Evan too, is that the clear blue for the chest of the door of the cassette mode for Blaster is shared in the gang molding of Eject to this character. Probably also plays up the Energon gimmick of Energon accessories that's going to also exist within that of Legacy. This character, what's cool about it is you're going to get probably an opportunity to pick him up in January. He's going to be a standalone case of 4. Standalone, he's going to be the only one in it, so chances are that's the best way you're going to be able to find him early this way. If somehow, some way you don't find him, he will be obviously available in Wave 1 of Legacy along with Bulkhead. So I get a feeling everyone who wants this character will be able to get this character. Pretty cool stuff. I'm very excited about it. Again, very hype. I mean, Blaster's had a lot of different toys throughout the years, but most of them were kind of hit or miss. Either Soundwave repaints or Soundwave retools. So it's nice to get something that's a brand new sculpt just for himself, just for the man himself, and no way to can play. I love it. I love it a lot. It's great. Next up, I just also want to mention on the bottom right there, if you look very carefully, the image that I put there, he actually has a little trigger finger for the gun, but that trigger finger for the gun also could be used for him pushing his button on his chest to open his chest to eject. So that's pretty cool. Love it. Love it. It's great. And now I guess the value of some of those cassette packs from Hasbro Pulse are going to go up in value now, so people are going to want to get those. Next up, let's talk about the Hasbro Roundtable Q&A. Now, this one was a packed one. Anyone that listened to my segment about it, there was a lot of stuff going on there. I broke it down into different categories because a lot of the questions that were asked were all over the place. So I took all of those questions, I put them into groups, and I mean, there was a lot of really good stuff there. I'm not going to cover everything that was talked about because I don't want you guys to be here all day. But some of the big ones were like, talking about Legacy and talking about Studio Series 86 and how Studio Series 86 is going to continue. There's no reason to stop it. It sold ridiculously well. And they said that they're even going to be looking into other characters like Thunderwing and Bludgeon, which I don't know how that's really movie related, unless it's Transformers Michael Bay movie related. And again, even then, those weren't characters that appeared in the movie. They were just in the toy lines. Thunderwing, not even that much, so I don't know what Evan or Matt were talking about exactly because it doesn't really match the theme of Studio Series 86, but it seems like they're covering a lot of TF the movie 86 characters anyways, so it doesn't really make a difference. I mean, Blaster would have easily fit in as a Studio Series 86 character, but obviously they want him in these different places. So that was one thing they mentioned that really caught our attention. Also the mention that in the case of Legacy, how combiners are going to be done and how they're going to have kind of a unique flavor to them and how they're going to be not like the traditional combiners, and that's going to get into what I'm going to talk about afterwards here when it comes to Menasor. So we'll get into that in a moment. But, they were talking about just like, hey, there's going to be all this kind of, unique designs and just really trying to match that animation model Fleero Deary kind of stuff that's going on. Princeton with the super chat for $2. Princeton, ask a question, brother. How you doing? Michael Koo says, so that's who could be the Mystery Legacy Wave 1-2 figure set. Where on Legacy Bulkhead was revealed. Well, again, it's gonna Michael Koo. It's gonna be Blaster. Like that art that was shown to us. It's gonna be Blaster for sure. Larry says Studio Series 86 Sunstreaker. Yeah, for his once on the ground scene and his once driving the shuttle scene. And anything is possible. Anything is possible. Supposedly we're gonna be the Unicron. Little slug figures that those little Dinobot slug figures there, those little plastic ones. I mean, Snarl is there and he was in the movie for all of 3 seconds, so blink and you'll miss it. Anyways, getting back to this, so there was a lot of stuff that was told. They said that they're going to be doing Armada stuff, like is 100% confirmed. Now we knew about the Armada Starscream because of listing, so we knew that is coming. But there's still, what's the story with that Armada Optimus Prime that we saw at Wonder Festival? Like, where's that going to happen? So we'll see what happens. We will see what happens with that. but it's just it's very interesting. A lot of the stuff they talked about, and again that Chester Cheetor crossover, that's literally from Evan's mouth. He was like, what he would love to see is he'd love to see. I'll actually quote him here. Dream HasLab collab mashups would be Kit from Knight Rider, SpongeBob from SpongeBob SquarePants, something from G.I. Joe, the Jaws boat from Jaws, which I believe, what was the name of that boat? Forget the name of the boat. I think it was something from Moby Dick. It had the name or something. FF7, Final Fantasy VII, he wants to do the Chocobo. Chester Cheetor with Cheeto Dust. I have no idea why he wants to do that, but sure, okay. LeBron James Space Jam. I'm surprised that one didn't happen. Like, in terms of timing, they could have done a basketball transformer like the bootlegs. So a lot of weird stuff he was talking about. A lot of weird stuff. Dark Twilight 20 with the gold super chat. Hey Proto, Starlight 4 Hammy here from the Discord. You ever get a Randy fully transformed Unbroken? I love my G1 Blaster, and I also have Twin Cast. Just wanted to ask. I have a video online where I opened up a Beast Wars Neo Randy. I transformed it without breaking it, and then I did the stupid thing. And you could watch this videos online. Type Operation GPS Randy, I think it's called, on YouTube. I tried to put the gun in his peg hole and then shattered the fist in the process, showing you just how fragile that toy is. You can't even put its gun in its peg hole. So I did transform it safely. I just screwed it up by then putting his gun in his hand. I had since crazy glued that broken fist back together, put the gun on his back, and called it a day, and have never transformed that figure since. I also have a mint in box one that I got from BBTS back in the day when they were a sponsor. So yeah, I don't recommend to anyone ever buying that figure. At someday we're going to get a new Razor Beast. I know it'll happen, and then we'll get a nice gold GPS version of him, of Randy, and the deep cuts will happen then. Some kind of craziness like that. The Orca, thank you, Roman. It was the Orca. Yeah, and there was a Transformer named Orcanaut. It was a playset. Maybe something could happen there. Get some Microverse Beast Wars, deep cuts. But yeah, there was a lot of weird stuff. Again, it's a huge segment. I think it was about 20 minutes. I tried to cover every single aspect of it. There was a lot of crazy stuff. But again, the big thing that they talked about was the combiners. And the thing with the combiners is they were really pushing that it's going to be a different way that they're going to combine. It's going to be a different kind of idea. And, on the bottom left there, you got the traditional Scramble City kind of combiner with G1 Menasor there. With the Combiner Wars one on the bottom middle there with Menasor, it kind of kept that same kind of Scramble City concept, but just with universal pegs this time, as opposed to it being the heads of the individual robots. What they're going for, from what it seems, with that of this Commander class Motormaster and this Menasor, is something that leans more towards using a separation of the trailer to that of the cab itself. So the cab disconnects, it makes Motormaster stand alone, and then the trailer disconnects, becomes a playset if you want, with a turret, an homage to the original toy, because it also could kind of do that. But then also the trailer disconnects and becomes the arms and legs for Motormaster, and those arm and leg pieces also clip on the vehicles in a kind of hanging on way, which some people are saying is kind of lazy and kind of ugly. And I probably would agree with you on that. But at the same time, I think they're really trying to get that animation model. And a lot of people have been commenting to me saying how, Menasor has always been the ugliest of the combiners in terms of animation model. So it's kind of weird that they started with them. But at the same time, I mean, it is what it is. I think they probably looked at the trademarks and went, we haven't used Motormaster in a while. We haven't used those Stunticon names in a while. I mean, actually, Dead End was used recently, but at least the others haven't. So I think they just kind of want to get that out of their system before they move on to... Because keep in mind, every time you do a combiner, you're talking minimum 6 trademarks. You're talking the combiner the actual combiner itself and its individual members. And Devastator and obviously some others are 7 with the 6 members and the combined mode. So it is what it is. But Henry Johnson with the super chat. Thank you, Henry Johnson. Do you believe the Netflix Soundwave will be reissued under Studio Series 86 or Legacy? I forget where I was reading, but I remember somewhere there was a mention that the Studio Series is going to be the Netflix Soundwave, along with that, like the Netflix Bumblebee. It's something that I believe is in a short-term contract with Walmart, and it's just going to be just a matter of time until that contract is up, and then they'll be able to use those molds, like the exclusivity of it, because there has been Walmart exclusives in the past, but they were never unique molds. In this case, these guys kind of are. But I mean, I would hope so, because I think that's a fantastic mold. Like, I own Masterpiece Soundwave, and I think he's absolutely incredible. And then when I got him from Brogan. He sent me in the PO box for the Slag podcast. He sent me the Netflix Soundwave, and I was like, my goodness, like, this thing is as good as the Masterpiece in terms of, like, you know, flexing that budget. So I really hope it does get reissued, because I'd love it if people could get their hands on it. It's a great mold. Absolutely fantastic mold. I mean, the Masterpiece is incredible too, but I mean, it's something where if you're going to get the Masterpiece, you probably want to get the Japanese version, but the Japanese version doesn't come with all the cassettes. So then you get the Hasbro version. It does come with all the cassettes, but it doesn't have the right eye colors. So that's a big problem though with Masterpiece Soundwave, is which one you want to get. And they're expensive, not cheap. Where if you're going to spend $200, you just, you know, then you might be even buying the Netflix one from a scalper. But I mean, again, if you look, it's going to be weird. But I just hope that the way that this transformation works with Menasor is primarily because of them trying to achieve that animation model, where when they then have to go to, let's say, Superion or Defensor, or even that of Computron, if they get that far, maybe those animation models won't require those same kind of shortcuts to achieve that look, and they could do some figures that are more true to that. I mean, the one thing I will give them credit, there's no more like glaring combiner peg on Dragstrip. That was the one thing that we saw. Like, there was no peg. There's a little hole. It's on the back of Dragstrip. I talked about it in the individual segment. And, you know, I think that's going to be the one way he plugs in on these arms and legs that are made by the trailer. Like it or hate it, that's going to be it. That's going to be the future. And they even talked about there's a possibility, don't hold your breath, but there's a possibility of maybe some box sets in the future too, if the demand is there. But we'll see what happens with that. And then the last thing we'll just cover quickly, some ass hat stole something from the factories and gave it to another ass hat, but that's a whole other story. We'll cover that another time. And that's it, more or less, for the news this week. We have a new episode of the the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer. Tomorrow is going to be the Halloween episode. I didn't put the thumbnail for it, but because I didn't want to spoil what the theme is. But that'll be tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Nice little long form, super visual podcast segment on the Toy Armada on YouTube, so be sure to check that out with Aaron Archer. We already have 2 episodes up of goodness, so be sure to check that out. Downright Superb wants to know, Proto, so the Combiner Wars ports are completely dead unless they repaint old figures. Well, I guess so. I mean, again, if Dragstrip is any indication of how combiners are going to be, there's nothing on them. It like, let's just go back for a second here. You know, it's going to be that there's going to be some kind of peg that is going to be on those trailer pieces that attach to them, attached to Motormaster, and then that little port that's on the back of Dragstrip's body, which we only saw for like 5 seconds, and I took a screen cap of it and showed it during the individual segment. I think it's just going to clip on. And I know it's kind of it's kind of like people feel it's kind of lazy, but I think there really is this emphasis to try to get that animation model over something that has that toyetic flavor. And I mean, the reality is, I mean, I think a lot of people just, when they do that combiner mode, they just kind of leave it like that. You know, it's the play pattern, and I guess the impressiveness of doing the engineering. Maybe it's like, hey, look, we already did something like that in Combiner Wars. Let's try to do something different this time around. And also because Motormaster is going to be a standalone piece too. Because when you think about it, like, yeah, some people are going to buy Motormaster and use them for the combiners and everything, like you would a Voyager with its deluxes. But what about people who are just buying Motormaster for the sake of Motormaster? So they want to probably have a whole like self-contained, enjoyable aspect and a combiner aspect with it, where if it doesn't have the deluxes that could be attached on, he could still do kind of a combiner super mode, if you will. They're probably going to sell it like that, like some kind of super mode. And then it's going to lead to people going, oh, then what are you going to repaint him into? Is he going to be, you know, Super Godfire Convoy or something? Who knows? Who knows? We will see. Media Mac has joined the Minicon recruits. Welcome, Media Max, to the Minicons. Enjoy your YouTube membership. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. There's so much that we still don't know, and usually when we learn about our commander class, it's like halfway through the year. So like we're probably not going to really see anything short of something being stolen. Probably not until, I'd have to say, July, August of next year. So we still got a long way to go. We're lucky that we have those Walmart listings that tell us and guide us at least. So at least that much. And of course, you know, because we have Dragstrip, it kind of tells us. Aiden Tolbert with the super chat. How you doing, Aiden? He says, imagine if Beast Wars Rampage is Unicron's successor. Well, it's kind of funny because we had Shokorak, which was a repaint of Beast Wars Rampage. That was kind of like a Unicronian character back in the BotCon days. So there is kind of a connection there. But I don't know about being Unicron's successor, though. I mean, the Chaos Bringer, that is practically a god and consumer of worlds, as opposed to pretty much what is just a psychomaniac, you know, serial killer that can't die because of Starscream Spark, but then kind of could die if you just have an Energon blade, I guess. Which, I mean, considering how, if you think about like just our new Legacy line, there's so many Energon weapons, it looks like anyone could take them out. So either way, I mean, I love Rampage as a character. I always wish he would get more toys. The last time he got a decent toy, when I mean decent, I mean not bad, was the Fun Publications one. Some people complained the head was too small, or using a deluxe class wasn't a good size. He should have been something bigger. But I still love it. I love that character. He's so crazy. So crazy. So crazy. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Menasor. We'll see what happens. There's so much questions than there is answers. We'll just jump into the sponsors for a moment, because the sponsors help us go around, and they're kind of taking a nap over there, the plushes. But let's talk about Symbiote Studios. Symbiote Studios with our plush, our pins, and of course our t-shirts. I'm wearing the Cat Bravo one today because Cat Bravo is also wishing you a happy holiday. Well, happy Halloween anyhow. Symbiote Studios also wishes you guys happy Halloween and a safe and happy Halloween. And for the kiddies, to be sure to check your candy and everything. And if you have any Tootsie Rolls, to be sure to send them all to Proto Man, because Proto Man loves Tootsie Rolls. That was my favorite. Like, if that was the one candy that no one liked and I loved, and I would trade all my stuff for that back in the day. Love Tootsie Roll. So bad for your teeth, but I love it. So again, symbiotestudios.com if you want your Transformer plush pins or t-shirts. I love the pins. I'm sporting the Megatron Mini today. And they got a lot of cool stuff. Hopefully in the future, we're going to, after SDCZ, after San Diego Comic-Con, we're going to be revealing the Wave 4 plushes of Transformer stuff, as well as some new other stuff too. But in the meantime, again, if you're going to be in San Diego, be sure to pick up Unicron. He's going to be the convention exclusive. Probably will have maybe some online presence too. We don't know yet. We'll see how sales go. But again, the Unicron is huge. Get the Chaos Bringer. He is massive to join your collection. Way bigger than anything that has been done thus far from the crew. Show, be sure to check that out. And then they could join your buddies on the couch over there. I don't know what Grimlock's doing to the Starscream over there. He probably fell over. But again, Check them out, symbiotestudios.com. They're the sponsors. They are awesome guys. And, of course, Hasbro. But you guys are buying their stuff anyways. So, and again, happy Halloween from Symbiote Studios. Just want to get into also some stuff that I got this week. One thing was Transformers. The other two weren't. But we got a super chat and we got a few other stuff here. Stinkfist69. He's now a 10-month member. Stinkfist69. What's up, Proto? It's been a few weeks. What up, Stinkfist? Welcome back to the 69. Spades Play with the super chat. Hey, Proto. If you had to throw a percentage of a chance that we'll be getting a Kingdom Galvatron in the they put Kingdom Galvatron in the 86 line, what would it be? Keep being excellent. Well, thank you, Spades. I think honestly think Studio Series 86 Galvatron will be its own thing. It'll be I think that they did Galvatron for the War for Cybertron reasons because he was in the show. They needed to have a nice leader class toy for the line. Look, they got a repaint out of it with the Hasbro Pulse Unicron DLC, as I call it. So that mold, it's gonna have its fun. They'll do their thing with it, but give it 2 years, 3 years, a Galvatron trademark, refreshing and going over when it expires, and they have to refresh it again. I see them maybe 2 years from now, and I know it sounds like a long time, but Studio Series 86 will probably still be around, and they'll do a brand new Galvatron, making you buy another Galvatron again, and then they'll do a clear repaint. And I mean, I've been down this road before. We had the deluxe one, we had the Voyager one in Titan Returns, and now we have a leader class one, and then they'll do something for Studio Series 86. I've been down this road many times before, and damn. So when you've lived it and seen it, it's totally going to happen. But I totally see it being something new. I could see it being something new. There's a Tootsie Roll dance downright superb. I did not know that. I know it's called My Teeth Are Filled with Brown Guck Tootsie Roll dance. And the Tootsie Pop too. Those also have the same thing. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. So in terms of stuff that I got, my buddy Pulse Dragon, he hooked me up with some stuff. He went to a EB Games, which is a GameStop here in Montreal, and I'll show the non-Transformer stuff first because I'm always hunting for Shy Guy stuff from Super Mario. I love the Shy Guy, so it's a black Shy Guy. Oh, there's blue, there's red, there's black. What other colors are they gonna do? So they did a black Shy Guy, so I picked that up. Well, he picked it up for me and hooked me up today. Swung by the Proto Cave. And this one's a wacky one. The only reason why I bought this was because it comes with Spike. Spike was an extremely obscure Super Mario Brothers 3 character. People might know him better as one of the characters from the Super Mario Brothers movie, one of the human characters. They never really made a decent figure of him outside of the Keshigumus in Japan. And those are like monocolored, so that doesn't count. So an articulated Spike figure. Oh, wow. I don't even care about the rest of this. This is all just like dressing. I'm just like, oh, hey, Spike has a figure. That's pretty hype. I'm weird with Mario stuff. I like to get figures of characters that have never been done. And the big Transformer one that Pulse Dragon hooked me up with, this was at Winners, a.k.a. Marshalls. Shattered Glass Optimus Prime and Ratchet for $29.99 Canadian. So about $23 American for this 2-pack. And it says they're originally down from $60, but it was never $60 to begin with. They just showed up with these at Winners, aka Marshalls in the States. So thank you, Jules. Pulse Dragon for the hookup. I didn't have this one, so awesome stuff. I'm going to open them up at some point, and I'll take a nice photo shoot with the original Shattered Glass stuff. That'd be pretty cool. But again, guys, if you're at a Winners or whatever, man, doesn't get any better than that. What was the original MSRP on this with Amazon? I don't even remember. But that's pretty crazy. So keep an eye out for that, guys. Keep an eye out for that. That was a pretty awesome deal. I was very happy with that. Because I didn't pick that up initially, and those went up in value like crazy afterwards. Dark Twilight 20 wants to know on the super chat. Hey Proto, I still don't understand why Prime DX Soundwave and RID 15 Warrior Thunderhoof are so expensive. Well, it's probably just because of the secondary market. Really, the Warrior Thunderhoof is expensive? Yeah, you know what? It's because he had that one-step version. He has the McDonald's version. He has the Legends class. I have a few of them on the side here. The funny thing, like a lot of those RID 2015 molds, because they weren't popular, there's not a lot of them that are purchased, not a lot of them in the secondary market, not a lot of them in collections. They just kind of got destroyed. They got sent back and they got destroyed, and that's it. So the secondary market of them is going to be pretty rough. Going to be pretty rough. Pretty rough. Oh, it was $50. Oh, see, that's weird too, because $60 Canadian. It would have been more than that if it was 50 American. Anyways. But so again, good savings. So, it's pretty much 50% off then when you really think about it. American, when you think about it, because it comes to about 25. Yeah, 25, 20. But yeah, a lot of those RID 2015 molds, there's especially the later ones. I know, what was the one that I bought? There was one that I bought that after I bought it and did a photo shoot of it, people were they wanted to buy it because they saw I did a nice photo shoot of it, and people were like, "Oh, I wanted to buy it," but then I saw how much it was worth. I was like, "What?" Oh my God, which one was it? There was one that I took photos of. It was the red, white, and blue jet, and like it supposedly it goes for like $60-$70 now. Any of those late wave ones, they go for stupid money. They go for stupid money. And some of them too, like, if you go back and watch that series and then you go, oh, that's a really cool character, I want their figure. And then you find out they had like one figure and it was part of a box set. And that box set was only available in like the Hong Kong region because RID 2015 had some weird, like, HK exclusive stuff too. And that one figure is like on eBay maybe once in a while and it goes for like $100. So there's a lot of that kind of weird stuff. But that's something that has always existed in Transformers. When you have stuff that doesn't have a strong secondary market, either by it not selling well or just not enough of them out there, the numbers are thin. And Stormshot, thank you, Gamma. It's something where that stuff happens, and that's what really increases the value, because then you have, like, even if it's like only 5 or 6 people that want it, those 5 or 6 people are driving up that value because they all want to have that figure. And like me, it's like it was the same thing with Brainstorm. Was it Brainstorm? No, Highbrow. Transformers movie Highbrow, the one that's like the World War II bomber. Like, I bought that one. I was super happy about it. Had it for years. Did a photo shoot of it. Posted photos of it, and then people are like, that figure is worth like $70. I'm like, what? And again, because it was something that really only had a little bit of a Canadian kind of distribution. So there's a lot of weird stuff. There's a lot of weird stuff that does stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure when we're going to probably look back at Transformers RID 2015 in the long run, there's going to be a lot of those kind of figures that unfortunately have that kind of bad distribution. And they also fall on this thing where it's like the people who do have it, if they're aware what they have, they're going to be having that crazy buy it now on eBay, and we all suffer for it. Let's see, we have another super chat by Dark Twilight 20, and he wants to say, one toy I'm looking for that I can't find is the SWAT team from Energon. That's the one with Checkpoint and Prowl. I remember that one with the Rodimus mold. And the same with the Cybertron, Galvatron. It's expensive. Well, the Checkpoint Prowl one, that was exclusive to certain stores, had no distribution in Canada. So right away, all the Canadian region, you have no secondary market of that. So even if you wanted to buy it, you don't even have Canadians on eBay that might be selling it. I managed to get one. I bought it from BotCon many years ago, and at the time I overpaid. I think I paid like $70, mint in box, just because it was a Rodimus mold. That's the main reason why I bought it. But yeah, that's a very pricey one too. That's a very pricey one. And the Cybertron Galvatron, that's a late wave thing. That's the big problem. Leader class, expensive, 4 per case. I believe it shipped with Galaxy Force Optimus Prime at the time. What other leaders were available at that time? Yeah, probably Galaxy Force Optimus Prime. So late wave, kind of thing. And it's late wave. It's a leader class, so it's expensive. So there's not many of them on the shelves to begin with. Maybe your Walmart or your Toys R Us got one case, so there was only 2 of them on your shelf. And then because it was an expensive product on the tail end of the line going into 2006 into 2007, maybe not many people bought it, so not a strong secondary market. And then when there's not a strong secondary market, where do you buy it from? The 5 or 6 guys that do have it that are asking big money. So it's always a headache. Always a headache. That's why I always tell people with late wave stuff, you got to be on top of that. Like when the first wave of something comes out and everyone goes crazy, that's the stuff never to worry about because there's going to be tons of that. But the late wave stuff, like I'm calling it now, stuff like let me think, like Tigatron, Kingdom Tigatron, he's going to be a headache in the long run. Watch how much of it, unless they reissue Tigatron at some point, the original white Kingdom Tigatron is going to be a nightmare. Watch. Shadow Panther, Waspinator, all those late wave ones, they're going to go through the same thing that RC with Generations Thrilling 30 and all of those did. They're going to be tough. They're going to be tough ones. Watch. I'm calling it now. There's your finance tip for free. Michael Koo with the super chat. During Hasbro's 10/27, Ben hinted at something more with lift ticket. Any idea what he meant by that? What he was referring to was there was a few things behind him. In the background, he had a poster of Menasor. Either he was talking about the Combiners, so Menasor is there in the background, so he's referring to that. Or when he was looking at Lift Ticket and he was talking about the Wreckers, and he was talking about the Wrecker logo on the side. I have no idea what he was talking about with that because the original Diaclone toy had the Wreckers logo on it. So unless he's going to become a Wreckers character or he's going to be in the IDW comic, I don't know what he was teasing at that exactly. That's the only other stuff. Like he had the Menasor poster behind him, and then he had 2 Titan class figures to the left and right of him. So unless he was making some kind of suggestion of, we're going to see our Titan class in the future, or we're going to see our Commander, I don't know what Ben was talking about in that little room that he was hoveled up in. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe it was just a throwaway to get people talking. Downright Superb. Hey, Proto, does Hasbro need to make a new figure to refresh a trademark, or they could re-release an old figure? They could it has nothing to do with the figure. It has to be with a product. So if they re-release, G1 Blaster, if they re-release, this Metal Hawk figure again for Metal Hawk, they just need to put out a product that has a trademark. That's it. And it has to be a new run of that product. It can't be like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it can't be like, we're just going to print, but it would never happen anyways. It's just like, we need like the Metal Hawk trademark's going to expire. Quick, let's just reproduce all of these Siege ones on the Siege packaging and put it out there. That could work. That could work for the trademark, but at the same time, they wouldn't do that. They'd probably just put it in new packaging. Around, I want to say, what was it, like 2010, 2011, Hasbro at one point was taking old Cybertron toys and repackaging them on this generic kind of red cardback packaging, and they ended up in like Big Lots and a lot of other places. I remember Backstop was part of it, Panhandler. I know I'm forgetting some of the other weird names that they had. There were a lot of mini cons and everything. And they did that with some Cybertron molds too, with KB Toys, where they're just like, hey, we got to do stuff with Repugnus. We got to do stuff with what else was there? I think Swindle was one of them. Was also the Swindle, but it was Swindle the Cybertron character, which was just a repaint. There's a lot. There's a whole bunch of cases where they just kind of do whatever they can for a trademark. Sometimes it's not even in the same brand. They'll be like, oh man, like in the case of Lift Ticket. There's a G.I. Joe character. Lift Ticket gets a brand new G.I. Joe, I think it was 20th anniversary figure. and that was like 4 years. And then when that was done, they refreshed that trademark, and they're like, well, we're not going to be making a new lift ticket figure. And at the time, Fun Publications was doing both G.I. Joe and Transformer stuff. And it probably, I don't know, Brian Savage, Jesse, one of the guys who wrote the bios, maybe Pete, they were just like, hey, let's use this lift ticket trademark. It's going to help out Hasbro. And the rest is history. You know, the rest is history. Media Max wants to know, how important are paint apps to you? I don't really care. I always add more paint or repro labels. My priorities is engineering and plastic quality. Well, I think, me personally, I'm a bit of a purist in the sense that I don't like to have to add something to a Transformer toy to make it better. You know, obviously, if I have to, I will, but I really shouldn't have to. You know, I really feel that if I'm going to pay X amount for the product, you know, I shouldn't have to buy an upgrade kit. I shouldn't have to buy a sticker sheet. I shouldn't have to buy, you know, paint and, you know, do that. I think like only twice in my life have I ever really like customized a figure because I felt like it would be better in one version than another, which was Cybertron Hotshot, which had the little wings on the back that were like the little hot rod wings that were yellow. And then Cybertron Excellion that had clear blue wings. I swapped their wings. So that way we had like a G1 looking hot rod figure with yellow wings or a yellow spoiler. That's probably the only time I've ever really done something like that. Otherwise, I just kind of, I'm just looking at some of my figures, you know. I prefer the figure to have all those paint apps baked in already. I think it's important. I think it's also, I like to see the challenge that the designers are able to do when they could, you know, kind of put a product together. You know, can we paint these knees? Obviously they can't because this is POM plastic, which is not paintable. It's used for ratchet joints and ball joints and stuff. But I mean, you know, then it goes into like, well, could we have molded this in orange? Well, if you mold in orange, then you're talking the gang molding. So the spoiler would have probably been orange. These little joint pieces here would have probably been orange. So then they probably would have had to paint the spoiler, but then they were, oh, well, is the paint budget there now for the spoiler? Because now the knees could be, you know, the knees could be orange, so it makes that look flush, but now we have to have a budget to paint this entire spoiler. So it's always the game of balancing everything with paint budget, with plastic budget, and there's almost an art to it. And I like to see how far they could push that, because when I look at stuff like, I always bring up this example, Cyberverse Deluxe Class RC, and how they really pushed the budget to the limit and made an incredible high quality product, where some of those other Cyberverse Deluxes, man, oh man, they were not good. You know, some of them were using some really bad plastic. Don't want to name names. Downright Superb Proto, are there any awesome Transformer designs that don't have popular characters that you would want to see more of? So are there any awesome Transformer designs that don't have popular characters? So do you mean like, is there any designs that are not popular characters that I would like to see more of? Awesome designs. There's a lot of cool stuff from Cybertron. Cybertron had a lot of really cool molds and designs and everything. Like, I'd love to see more of Cannonball. That's a cool character. And then, of course, I fall onto all the Japanese stuff that just doesn't get enough love. I mean, are we going to ever get another Road Caesar anything? Are we going to get another, you know, Road King anything? Are we going to get another, you know, the whole crew of Landcross? Any of those guys get another toy? I mean, yeah, they had their original toy and they had Cabayas. That's about it, you know? So it's something where there's a lot of cool stuff I'd love to see, you know? Michael Koo says Deathsaurus. You know, Deathsaurus, I mean, he had his BotCon stuff. He had a Cabaya kit. He had a PVCs, but that doesn't count for transformable stuff. You know, like it's... I mean, there's a lot... Signal Lancer, like Commander said. Signal Lancer, I would love to see him finally get to it. Botanica! Why don't... In a world where we have bots and all of these plant transformers, how do we not have Botanica? I still don't understand that. Like, man, if you would have given me control of the BotBots brand, that would have been the face of the brand. And so many Beast Wars purists and Beast Machines purists would have gotten into BotBots solely because Botanica was the face of that brand. They would have been like, oh man. And then they, it's I call it the first cigarette. You give them that one, and next thing you know, they're collecting them all, you know? So it's something where, man, I would love to see that. I would love to see that. There's a lot of other designs that supposedly we're going to be getting in the future of the obscure characters, but nothing is confirmed yet. It's just from listings. But I'd love to see that. Downright Superb continues. Proto, will blast effects be rare and valuable in the future? Will they be a market for people trying to get originals in the future? Not so much so, because I think that the 3D printing world will probably be much stronger then. Blast effects don't have that same like official value capacity outside of someone completing a figure. Like, if you want to complete all the accessories, those blast effects will have a value. But in terms of people using them for aesthetics and photography, people are going to fall on to so many other options that they have. I mean, Bandai has a whole bunch of blast effect stuff that could be used. And again, the 3D printing world is getting stronger and stronger every year. So I can only imagine what's going to happen where people start making their own stuff like that too. So we'll see what happens. We will see. But I mean, again, I only think their value will stem more from someone want to complete a figure. Like, someone buys a Commander Jetfire and it has none of the blast effects. And then if they want to complete it, someone's going to have, some blast effects and go, well, here's a premium value for these because you want to complete your figure. Much like how you look at old G1 toys and it's like a loose, incomplete Wheeljack is like $30 and his guns are like $30 and his missiles are $30, so sometimes completing the figure is the only reason why certain accessories are valuable. It has nothing to do with the individuality of those accessories. And blast effects fall into that, unfortunately. But again, there's so many different venues for that kind of stuff. Like the Ultraman SH Figure Arts, when those used to exist, had a lot of blast effect stuff that was really good. I know I'm forgetting some others. Some of the Sentai stuff too. You buy like kits of this stuff, and you could have so much fun with them. And there was Godzilla ones too. Excuse me, there was Godzilla also, and you could just use all of that craziness. Dragon Ball has a bunch too. Now I'm remembering, there's a lot of Dragon Ball stuff also from the SH Figure Art stuff, and all that SH Figure Art stuff. It's in that general deluxe Voyager kind of scale, so it works very well. Trevor Stasic wants to know, not able to actively watch right now, but wanted to wish you and everyone a happy Halloween. Thank you, Trevor. Trevor wishes everyone a happy Halloween. I wonder if anyone's going to be dressing up tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to even turn the lights on for the kids this year, because last year was brutal. The Big V didn't let any kids go out, so no one even came. So I don't even know if I'm going to bother this year. I have candy. Maybe I'll just eat it all. Just chocolate all over my face. Media Max, what mainline War for Cybertron figure was the hardest to get, and what were shelf warmers? Any particular surprising to you? Hardest to get from Siege was, and it's silly because then he was easy to get afterwards. Siege Final Wave Rung, but like on the Siege card back, was very tough to get. Ironically, a year and a half later, he ends up at Ollie's for like nothing, and he's super common. But he was initially really hard. Shelf warmers for Siege, I would have to say, I'd have to go probably with Chromia was on there. A little bit Sideswipe, but again, it's all those Wave 1 guys. Those are always the ones. And they don't shelf warm because they're bad. They're shelf warm because they're Wave 1, and everyone buys so many of them. Who else? Okay, well, that's hardest. For Earthrise, hardest to find was probably, and I'm not counting like exclusive, I'm just talking like retail mainline. Earthrise, I'd have to say, Not a lot of that stuff was tough, at least for me. But again, everyone is different. I don't know. Maybe like Barricade? Maybe? I don't know. No, wait, not Barricade. No, Barricade wasn't, but that was Siege again. I don't know. That was I'm trying to think. There wasn't a lot that were too tough. Shell formers though in Earthrise, probably, and it sucks because I love that mold. Ironworks. I saw a ton of Ironworks. No one touched Ironworks. I don't know why. He was awesome. I love that mold. But there was a ton of them. I would say just a sea of yellow with Ironworks. See, other people are confirming Chromio was everywhere. Yeah, Chromio was a weird one. You know, and again, because it was wave one. Wave one, there's too much of it. Downright Superb Proto, for your information, David K. will be voicing Celestials in Marvel's Eternals. I did not know that. I have not. Is that movie out yet? I have not seen it yet. I'm curious about it. It's one of those more, Marvel, cosmic universe kind of characters, which I always really like, but I know a lot of people are not going to care about. So I just worry that movie probably isn't going to do well. But then again, I said that about Guardians of the Galaxy, and I was wrong about that. So and I was happy I was wrong. I remember telling all my friends, because they were like, oh, should I see Guardians of the Galaxy? I'm like, if you want to know who Thanos is, probably, because that's how I thought they were going to sell it. Like, it's going to be space, and they're going to explain Thanos and all of that. But yeah, I mean, it's cool that David K. got to voice something. He should have voiced Thanos, in my opinion, but that's just me. And no shade to Josh Brolin, because I think he did a fantastic job, but David K. will always be a Thanos voice in my mind when I read comics for years. But, getting back to so Kingdom, the Shelf Warmer in Kingdom 100% was Vertebrake. Vertebrake, like Kingdom, the whole shelf would be empty and it would just be Vertebrake. Because if I was going to see something, it was going to be Vertebrake. The hardest to find, we haven't seen everything yet, but I'm predicting that Tigatron. I'm telling you, that Tigatron, because it's going to be a Voyager, so it's going to be 2 per case, and he's going to be tough. Watch, he's going to be a headache later. Door Less Wheat wants to know on the super chat, hey, recently started going through your old videos, love the channel. Who all do you think they will add to Studio Series 86 line? I would like to see added to Studio Series 86 line initially Blaster, but since he's happening now, and now we're going to be getting Perceptor too, so you can reenact that scene there from the 86 movie. Who would I like to see next? Obviously we just talked about Galvatron before. Would have been cool to get a new Galvatron. But I feel like Galvatron, much like Commander Class Rodimus, I think both of those are going to be revisited in Studio Series 86 in the future. They just need to create some distance from those Kingdom releases. But I don't know, that's a good question. Maybe a revisit Springer again. I know that the Siege one is pretty good, but maybe clean up the Siege mold. Give us a good Springer. And I have nothing against the Siege one. I think the Siege one's fantastic, but maybe just clean it up and then put it out there. Maybe retool it a little bit. I don't know. Give him a new sword. Give him something. But thanks for the super chat, Door. Thank you. Michael Koo with the super chat. Do you think Earthrise, Runabout, and Runamuck will be reissued after Target exclusive agreements runs out? No, I don't think so. I think Runabout and Runamuck are just going to be headaches in the future for people, and that'll be that. Same thing with the Thrust from Earthrise. There's certain toys that they just come out and they just have terrible distribution, and then Hasbro really doesn't think about doing reissues. The best that they could probably do is maybe at some point use those molds and then do a new color scheme to kind of justify it. Kind of like how, Bakon got the extra Seeker Jets in 2007, and then they kind of reissued, retooled those Seeker Jets, the cone heads, in retail afterwards. So that's one way I could look at it. But then at the same time, everyone remembers back in the day, the deluxe Seeker Jets. How did you get Skywarp? If you didn't get them from that Target 2-pack with Ultra Magnus, you didn't get it at all. That was it. Obviously, outside of Japan, you could get the Japanese version of Henkei, but so it's kind of the same thing where I'm sad to say there's going to be some toys that'll come out that are going to be a Target exclusive or a Walmart exclusive or something, and they're just going to be stuck there as that forever in low numbers, scalped to death, and it's just going to suck. It's just going to suck. And then you just got to kind of wait until the next version comes rolling around. That's probably the only way you could go about it. Downright Superb with the super chat. Downright wants to know what modernized character do you want most? I always fall on to Nitro Convoy, Road King. I'd like to see a red repaint of the Mirage mold, which was a Diaclone character. Maybe given some new tools and twisting. That'd be kind of cool. If you're talking more modern characters, let's see. Some stuff from Car Robots. A lot of those characters never got a second shake. Mach Alert, aka Prowl, Wild Ride, aka X-Brawn, all of the Spy Changers. X-Car, aka Crosswise and Wars and Rev, REV, all those weird characters. It'd be cool to get like modernized versions of them that aren't just Spy Changers. Some of the Armada characters, but I think at some point we're gonna get to those guys because you could only do G1 so many times. That's some. Let's do Primus again. I want a new Primus figure, even if it's a deluxe. Even if it's a deluxe Primus figure, I want a new Primus figure. Take a Rodimus mold, paint it gold. Do something like that. I just want a new Primus. Get that trademark back. Collector Prime with the super chat. Happy to be here for another great chat. Always great here. How many more Shattered Glass characters do you think we'll see? I think we're going to see a lot more. There is mention. I had the list somewhere. There is mention that they do want to do more Shattered Glass in the future. It sold very well. So we'll definitely be seeing more of that. I think that's being backed a lot by Walmart wanting to have Shattered Glass as an exclusive kind of thing. So as long as Walmart is pushing for it, it'll exist. Maybe not as a main crazy retail thing, but at least in a segmented form. And look, historically, Shattered Glass has always been a exclusive kind of nature product, going all the way back to BotCon. So it being a store exclusive isn't too out of the question. But I think we'll see more. I think we'll see this guy, at some point as in Shattered Glass. I'm pretty sure we'll see. Look at all the molds we have. Find the Shattered Glass colors. It's probably going to happen at some point. We just got Blaster. So Shattered Glass Blaster, Shattered Glass Soundwave, Shattered Glass Shockwave, which uses the Quake Wave colors. There's so many different characters that could be done with that. Detective Ferret, what figure could be retooled for the Chocobo for the crossover? I don't know. Air Razor? No, the Chocobo, because Chocobos are more upright. They're more like a ostrich, eh? I don't know. It'd have to be... You know what? Hear me out. Take that Dinobot, Voyager Dinobot Beast Wars Kingdom mold, retool that like crazy, because look at the silhouette of how it stands, and then you could have it turn into Cloud from Final Fantasy VII, because Dinobot has his sword, so it could be like Cloud's big sword. I don't know. I'm spitballing here. Evan, you owe me money. That's one way to look at it. Maybe that one. When you look at how crazy they retool some of them, I could see it happening. Because look at you look at the X-Men one, and you look at some of the others where they put a lot of time and money into retooling it. Twilight 20 wants to know, what's your opinion on Pulse exclusive Ravage? I think it is the best, Beast Wars Ravage toy ever made. Take it as I was someone who I bought the original Ravage X9 Beast Wars Ravage back in the day for $100. $100. And this was 2001, 2002. So you're talking like $30 by inflation today minimum. And then I remember Azusa had one at his table and he was asking it for super cheap, and I picked it up and then I sat on it for a while because I wanted to have him in like both modes, and then I changed my mind. And then I remember bringing it to a TFCon and selling it for $60. And it didn't have the box, didn't have the guns. It was just like the loose figure. So that figure was worth a ton of money. Ton of money. And this one is way better than it in every way. In sculpting and look and design, the box is amazing. You almost want to leave it mint in box. I think it's incredible in every way. I think that any Beast Wars fan should get it. They shouldn't sleep on it, because I don't know if we'll ever see that toy in retail ever. Maybe we'll get a white repaint as Botcon Transmetal Tigatron, but maybe not, for anyone knows what that's a reference to from the 2001 Botcon exclusives. But at the end of the day, I think it's fantastic. I think it's incredible. And Lee Tokar is going to be a guest at TFCon Toronto in December. And while, it's December TFCon, which I know a lot of Americans are not going to cross the border, but wow, that's a good time to get an autograph on your Ravage box, But yeah, man, oh man, what a great freaking, what a great figure that thing is. Incredible. Let's see what I missed a few here. Media Max, do you think the new TF Legacy label could be a backdoor to re-releasing figures for TM or for a trademark for Runabout? Do you really want to engineer a new figure? Maybe Legacy is a different kind of generations. Well, here's the thing. Those designers get paid. You know what I mean? So to say like, oh, they're just going to, reissue the figure, if they see that they're not doing their job, like part of, it's kind of the same thing. Like when people always tell me, oh, like, why is this comic book movie so bad? Why didn't they just use the comic as the script for this movie instead of doing their, because those writers want to get paid, they don't want to get paid just taking someone else's material. So it's the same thing. If someone's going to do a Runabout or a Runamuck, they're probably just going to make a brand new one or justify resculpting or something just to get paid for working. They want to get paid. As for reissues and re-releases within Legacy, I think there will be some. We already saw that some of the core classes are going to be reissues from Kingdom stuff. We saw from the listings. So there will be some reissues, but otherwise, those are slots that I guarantee you rather be filled with. Look, every wave of deluxes is going to have 4 deluxes. Every wave of Voyagers is going to have 2 Voyagers. Every wave of leaders is going to have 2 leaders in general, sometimes 1. In the case of the first wave, it's just going to be Laser Prime. They need to fill those slots. But if you told someone, hey, your Voyager slot, instead of it being a new character, it's going to be, Thrust again, some people will be happy, some people will be not happy. Some people that want to complete their cone heads will be happy. Some people are like, I wish it was a new character. And then you fall into also how the budget works, because how wave assortments work is the 2 Voyagers, they share the budget. So if you're taking something that's from the outside, like a Thrust, that had a different kind of probably budget in Earthrise back in the day, it kind of screws up things. We talked about that actually on the Toy Armada when it came to that kind of stuff, where sometimes an old mold shows up in a wave, but it doesn't fit the budget. So it's a little complicated, that one, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Michael Koo says, Shattergas sideswipe, just so that they use this tooling yet again. that mold is an army in himself, almost like a seeker jet. It's kind of crazy. Him and the Datsuns. It's really becoming that in a lot of ways. Princeton Phalanx 59 wants to know, did you see the X-Tranbot Omnibot repaints? Yes, I did. Do you think Hasbro will ever do Omnibots? Thanks for your positive vibes. Thank you, Princeton, for the positive vibes. Yes, I did. As a car enthusiast and a motor racing enthusiast, I think they look fantastic. I bought a Armada. It was a bootleg. Was it a bootleg of Smokescreen? No, it was a bootleg of a Silver Streak. I bought, not Armada, Alternator's bootleg of Silver Streak, the Subaru, and it was a bootleg that had all these like car, sponsorship logos on it from like, Rally and GT and Formula One. And I love that kind of stuff because, oh my God, it looks so cool. I'm not big on third party, but if those Omnibots are in front of me at a con and they're cheap, I am buying them all. We'll see what happens when those get released in the future. Maybe I'll pick them up. I'm not sure. They look so good though. They really do. They really do. Especially was it Downshift? The Downshift one I think was the really good one. I really liked the Supra, 86 Supra, Toyota Supra. And do you think we'll ever see Omnibots? That's a trademark thing, unfortunately. So Downshift, they do have that trademark. Camshaft, they do have that trademark. But then we end up on the problem of our little Ferrari. We don't have his trademark. So 2 out of the 3 could happen. 2 out of the 3 could happen. They keep that camshaft trademark for a while. They throw it on a lot of weird stuff. It was an alternator also. They had the camshaft trademark. Downshift. When was the last time they used Downshift? I think it might have been... Unfortunately, I think the last time it was used was Cybertron molds, I want to say. Because it was like a wheeljack stand-in for the longest time. But anyways, I kind of get the idea. But yeah, thanks for the positive vibes too, brother. Downright superb Proto. Do you think Hasbro puts any value in scalper and speculator market? Why wouldn't they want to reproduce figures that are worth over $100? The only section of Hasbro that pays attention to the secondary market is the Wizards of the Coast market. Wizard of the Coast brand with the Magic the Gathering stuff, where they go, oh, these cards are worth money, so now when we reissue them, we're going to charge this much. So the thing is that if they recognized it, if they went, oh, trust me, I hope they don't, because it would be like, oh, this deluxe Perceptor Titan's Return goes for $60. Let's reissue it for $60. So I'm pretty sure they're aware of the complaints of fans, but at the same time, it's very expensive to fire up the old factory machines and do a run of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 6,000, 8,000, 10,000 of a figure. So to have even if it's 100 fans contacted them going, oh my God, it really sucks. I want Runabout. I want Thrust. I want this guy. I want that guy. They go, okay, it's 100 fans, but what if it really is only 100 fans? Are we going to fire up the factories to make 1,000 of these to justify the cost? And it's not going to be 1,000. It has to be way more than that to justify it. To then do the packaging, to have it shipped out, to be in stores. And then what if they end up still not getting it again? It's tough. It really is. It really is. And I'm sympathetic with people over it, but at the same time, it's such a battle. It's such a battle to get some of that stuff. I'm in the same boat as you. Trust me, there's a lot of times where there's certain figures I want. Look, Kingdom had terrible... I don't want to say it had terrible distribution. It had terrible luck in my retail because it would come out and people would eat it up. And by the time I would get there, it would all be gone. It'd be like a lone rat trap waiting for me or something, or a vertebrake, And I'm not complaining too much because I understand the game, being in it for years, and I understand how people will eat stuff up, and if I don't go every single day, it falls on me. But at the same time, it's hard to convince Hasbro to retread something that I think they've already made their money on, and it really would be only maybe 100 fans that are complaining. Like, really, if you could quantify how many fans want Thrust, Earthrise Thrust, how many fans really want that? Until they move on to whatever the next thing is they want. So it's really tough. That's a very tough one to kind of visit, unfortunately. Michael Koo with the super chat. In Transformers Rise of the Beasts, I don't think there's any flyers. Any idea what this seems, why this seems to have happened? There's a flyer. That's all I'm going to say. There is. That's all I'm going to say. I can't talk too much about that one. Let me just scroll back up for a sec because I missed some other questions. Downright Superb with the super says here, Downright Superb says, why wouldn't Hasbro just want to do a Kickstarter type thing and reproduce hard to get figures? Look at the HasLab stuff. That's technically a Kickstarter. Look at the numbers they have to hit. 8,000. I don't know if there'll be 8,000 that would want a thrust. And even then, I get a feeling at 8,000, they're not going to be able to ask the MSRP of $39.99. They're going to probably say, look, to do 8,000, you're going to need the MSRP of $59.99. And then right away, they're going to be like, well, $59.99, forget it. Now I don't want it. And then it doesn't hit those 8,000 or 10,000 or whatever the number they need. Look, Star Saber was what, 10,000, 11,000, you know? So the numbers they needed to hit, yes, it could exist, but think about how it would exist. And then after how it could realistically exist, and then how successful it really would be. You know? Joseph Ritter, what? Hypothetically, if a new Transformer toy came out this year with a run size of only 250 units, how rare would this be? Any others that you could remember? Well, outside of lucky draws are always under 100 units, sometimes under 50 units, and they always go for like, $500. But the thing is, when there's certain things that create value and demand. So the lucky draws, they're always molds that have been proven successful. So it's a gold chrome, 1 of 50 made, magazine exclusive Transformers Prime RC. And people who are RC collectors will want it. Or it's a gold Optimus or a gold, what's it called? Rodimus mold or something. With in the case of Energon, they did a silver one that was like 1 of 10 made. It's crazy. I have it because I'm crazy. That kind of stuff, its demand is created because it's proven molds. When you make a new mold and you make that new mold limited, then all of a sudden there's all these different complaints that happen. Number one, if it's a good mold and it's only 250 made, fans are going to complain, oh, that sucks, that's bull, I want to be able to get this, and there's only 250 of them. There's the hate of that. If it's a bad mold, then even if it's 250, no one's going to want it. Case in point, Loot Crate Optimus Prime, that weird gangly Optimus Prime figure, I think there's like 1,000 of those made, and nobody cares. Those are going to be in some clearance place in the future, I get a feeling. So you have stuff like that. But then when you fall into, like, it's usually those limited run figure stuff that do very well are based on stuff that have already proven themselves and have equity that fans would want to buy that stuff, because it's that balancing act. If it's something that people really want and you make it limited, you are going to get chewed out by the fans and they're going to complain, and the scalpers are going to know because there's only 250, so they're going to buy 10 of them. And yeah, the seller's going to sell out potentially, and that's if it's a good item, but the negative impact of it, you'll never hear the end of it. There's more than 250 of that Ironhide Prowl Earthrise 2-pack, but yet we still are hearing people complaining about it. Or the Seeker 2-pack from Earthrise. We're still hearing the complaints about it. And there was more than 250 of them. But then when we have stuff like, I don't know, these guys. The little Minicon Micromaster Mask 2-packs. No one cared about those. And they had the same run number. No one complains about them. So you got to balance that. And they had the same run of numbers. I think they only made like 1,500 or something. Very limited. So it's really tough. The stuff that's under 250, it really is lucky draw stuff. That's all I could really think of. Outside of obviously maybe some BotCon stuff like custom classes. I mean, if you want to count those. Custom class stuff, I think there's 100 units of those at most before they started doing the mass release ones afterwards. Like custom class BotCon 2011 Minerva, which was probably $1,000 today. Maybe only 100 of those exist. But again, proven mold. It was the RC mold. So people already kind of got that mold, so they were able to enjoy it. And it was a proven mold, so people already, got to experience it. So there's not a lot of hate. Yeah, they would have loved to get a chance to get Minerva, but at the same time, they already got RC. They could probably paint it themselves because they have the mold at least. There's a lot of weird things that go on there. Michael Koo says, Proto Man, no worries. It was in the brain, so I had to ask. No problem. No problemo, brother. No problemo. That's what the super chats are for. Downright Spur Victory Saber got 27,300 backers, by the way, and would reproducing older molds even be cheaper for Hasbro? It would be cheaper from a development standpoint, yes, but there still is the matter of plastic costs and packaging. Number one, plastic cost, packaging, assembly in the factory, because now you have to dedicate a whole assembly line and a whole machine just that one figure being produced every time. And then that time and energy could be used for something that could be a 100,000 unit product. Like Deluxe Skids, Wave 1 Legacy is going to have easily 100,000 units worldwide. Or they dedicate that machine to printing out 800 units of thrust. Because there's the workers, there's the packaging, there's the shipping it out, there's the machines, there's the materials, there's all the different plastics involved. It costs them money. Do they make profit? Oh, of course they do. Of course they make profit. But when you get smaller numbers, that profit margin shrinks, and that's where they go, we're going to go for something that's an easy get than something that's, smaller. And then when you get into point of sale and how sometimes certain, distributors, they don't get money unless the sale happens, and that's a whole other story that Hasbro has tried to work out with different companies and stuff like that, like a Toys R Us. That's a huge other discussion, point of sale stuff. Look that up. That's something that kind of led to the birth of the Lego stores in a lot of ways, so that it just made life easier for Lego instead of having to deal with the drama with Walmart for years. I don't want to get too much into that because that's too much into the weeds of retail and how a lot of toy companies make their dough. Oh man, we're already 25 minutes left in the stream. Today we flew. We flew today. A lot of stuff going on. But again, the thing is like, and I got to see this firsthand when it came to third-party stuff, which was when TFCon used to do exclusives. We could ask less for the exclusive, the more we make of it. Meaning if we made 1,000 units of this exclusive, then the cost per exclusive, let's say each, would be $50. But if we made 1,500 of these units, then the cost per unit would go down to like $30. So the more we make, the cheaper it is. But the problem is that even though it's cheaper, and as a result you could kind of put those savings onto the consumer, if no one cares, then now you're stuck with 1,500 instead of 1,000. It's a tightrope walk. And when you're using older product that potentially the people who did want it already got it, and the people who didn't get it who want it, who are a minority, that's where you run into that problem where it's like, how many people want thrust? That's a really tough one. Look, I didn't get thrust either. Don't get me wrong. And I know some guys locally that were scalping the hell out of them, and I didn't appreciate what they did there. But at the same time, how many people really is it that really want him? That's where it gets a little crazy. Princeton says here, do you ever get Transformer model kits? If so, have you ever gotten any of the Flame Toys ones? Yes, the first Transformer model kits I ever got were the old Kabaya ones from back in the day. I used to have a tradition that I started in BotCon 2010 and I stopped in BotCon 2013. I'd buy the latest Kabaya kits and I'd build them at the bar, like live. I think on one of Vangelis's old BotCon 2010 videos, you could see me building those kits at the bar and stuff. And I was with Sean Long and a few other guys too. Yes, I do have some of the Flame Toys ones. Starscream is right there. Bumblebee is right there. And Rodimus is on his way. That Rodimus one looks amazing. I love building model kits. I build Mega Man Bandai kits. I build Gundam Gunpla kits. I built, back in the day, Macross ones. And even before that, Monogram jets. My first model kit I ever built was, I believe, an F-13 Tomcat. I believe it was the jet. And then a stealth bomber. Both were Monogram snap and paint kits. It's the first time I ever talked about that. Orlando Chavez has become a member of the Elite Guard. Thank you, Orlando, and enjoy your membership and Sideswipe badge, G2. I'm gonna change. I want to put some more up for you guys in the future. With Legacy coming out in Transformers Multiverse, coming back together under one umbrella, or will all the different lines be their own thing story-wise? So according to what Hasbro said with that Q&A just a couple days ago, Legacy is going to be like this multiverse thing under one umbrella, where you're going to see G1, G2, Beast Wars, Beast Machines, Robots in Disguise, Armada, Energon, Cybertron, movie stuff, animated, hopefully, Transformers Prime. So they're all going to be under that bubble. Japanese characters, obscure Japanese stuff, except movie stuff. Movie stuff will still be in Studio Series. Obviously, the Rise of the Beast stuff will have its two separate lines. There'll be both Studio Series Rise of the Beast and its standalone, more kind of like the Bumblebee movie had. There was Bumblebee movie characters in Studio Series, but there also was a Bumblebee movie toy line that was kind of more low end and gimmick based. So that's the way I kind of see that. But it's going to be a big multiverse stuff. Fiction wise, they said that the quote that they had was, War for Cybertron is going to continue doing what they do. And that's it. So maybe they're going to continue what they're doing right now, but it's going to be with the Legacy characters, probably, I guess. But when you look at the Kingdom War for Cybertron series, I guess, there wasn't a lot of there was Primal, Cheetor, Megatron, there's a handful of Kingdom toys. We didn't have our Commander class. We had our Titan class was in it. So maybe it'll be the same thing. It'll be that core cast moving forward into what the Legacy Netflix series will be, but they'll probably have here's Skids, here's Bulkhead, here's this. Who knows? I don't know. That I don't know. Unfortunately. So, but that's kind of what they were saying. They were kind of going in that direction. Offset the figures that don't sell at those at retail. Well, that's a crystal ball kind of thing. So that's something where you'd have to say to yourself, how are they able to know what sells and what doesn't sell? Hasbro designs toys with the intent that everything will sell. You know what I mean? No one ever designs a figure going, this is going to be the weak one of the bunch that doesn't sell well. Then they probably wouldn't include it at all. There's always this positivity when they design this stuff. So we'll see what happens. It's tough. Trust me, man, I'm with you on that. I am totally with you on that, because it's something that it's very hard to find a place for it. People for years were complaining about Deluxe Skywarp, and he was like the one that was missing from everyone's Seeker collection. and he just never got a chance. He never got reissued. It was this Target exclusive, and that was that. And his value went on for years and years. Now it's gone down since then, but for years that was like $150 loose deluxe figure, and which came from a 2-pack that was like $39.99 MSRP. And he was packaged with another figure that was also popular because of City Commander. So it was crazy back then. It was crazy. J.R. Mina from the Philippines. Good morning from the Philippines. Hi, Proto. What's for dinner or evening snack tonight? So funny story with that. For people who are Canadian, they did this craft dinner promotion where it came with special sauces on the side. So you could, it's macaroni and cheese, but you have poutine flavor, you have jalapeno, you have butter chicken, cotton candy. So I got the poutine one. I wanted to try it, and it tastes disgusting. So I had that for supper. But just because I wanted to try it, I am probably going to eat something else afterwards. I'm not sure yet. Maybe a chicken pot pie. I'm not sure. It's going to be late. I try not to eat too heavy before I go to bed. But something with protein in it. Something with protein in it. I did working out, so my shoulder is stiff, so it needs some healing. Let's see. Joseph Ritter with the super chat. Would they ever move to the USA for the amazing... would you ever move to the USA for the amazing job opportunities? I love Canada too much, brother. I love Canada too much. It's just my hot take, but I think that if you're investing in the future, I think Canada would probably be the best place to go. Just for the long run, you know. But at the same time, I love the United States. They have such great food. I love the West Coast. I love New York City. I don't like Florida though. Florida's too hot. Florida's way too hot. I'm sorry, people from Florida. Can't take that heat. Man, I don't know how you guys survive there. You guys are stronger than me. But I'd never move to the States. I love Canada too much. I've been all over the United States. I've been to so many, I've been to Texas, I've been to Chicago, I've been to Washington, I've been to San Diego, I've been to LA, I've been to Pasadena, I've been to Florida, all over different areas of Florida. You know, I've been to Charlottesville, I've been to Rhode Island, obviously for Hasbro. I've been to Plattsburgh, I've been to Chicago, I've been to Charlotte, I've been all over the place. I'd love to go to DairyCon in Wisconsin one day. And then all the BotCons that made me go places. You know, I've been all over, but I love Canada. I love Canada too much. Non-Transformers question. What's your opinion on HasLab G.I. Joe Sky Striker? I think it's cool. Sky Striker is like the quintessential G.I. Joe vehicle. In a lot of ways, it's the, how do I compare it? It's like it's like having like a G1 line without Prowl or Jazz, you know. So how do you not have a Sky Striker? It's like you have a Sky Striker, you have a Hiss Tank, you know. Those are quintessential. So I think it looks fantastic. Sky Striker is awesome. Not much more I can really say. Being a HasLab thing, I think it's just because G.I. Joe has a tough retail market. So to do something that big for the retail market probably couldn't have happened, though. Media Max, Proto, will the TF brand always be stuck in the 80s? The Bumblebee movie went back to it, and the characters like Soundwave are rooted in that. When those old 80s guys like me stopped buying product, I guess. I mean, look, I'm with you. I rather have stuff that isn't 84, 85, 86 characters. I'd love to see other stuff. I'd love to just see other stuff. I'd love to see new dudes. I'd love to see new things. I'm with you on that. But why does Hasbro keep doing it? Because it sells. That's all. You know, the second it stops selling, they will do something different. You need G2 to happen. And what I mean by that is when they did G2, they're like, let's give them more G1. Let's give them the G1 cartoon, the G1 designs, most of the G1 toys, G1 with G2. And G2 sold terribly. and then we got Beast Wars. So we need a G2 situation. We need a line to come out that'll do absolutely terribly, mostly because Power Rangers existed at the time in 1993 and wrecked it, but that's here nor there. You need a G2 situation, and then we'll have a Beast Wars Renaissance or whatever again that will give us something new and fresh. I have been to Louisville, Kentucky. I've been to Kentucky. Which BotCon was that I went to? One of them was in Kentucky. Was it? They all blend together. I've been to 16 BotCons. I don't even remember anymore. You get off a plane, you go to a hotel, and then you check out all the food locally and stuff. Was it Louisville? The Kentucky Derby? Was that BotCon 2016? Oh my god, I'm losing my mind. I don't remember. I have been. Amazing food. I love the music culture there because I went on Main Street in Louisville and they had a lot of street shows, so that was pretty awesome. So, love it. If you ever come to DairyCon, would love to meet you. Hey man, I would love to go. When the world opens up again, okay, I'm going to talk to DairyCon and me and Aaron Archer are going to raid that place. We're going to do something. We will do something. Mark my words. When the world's open... I wasn't at TFCon that passed because crossing the border for a Canadian is a nightmare right now. It's a headache between, oh, you got to do all this crazy stuff and everything. Like, I was just like, you know what? I don't need the headache to get stranded and then I can't get to work on the Monday or something. So it's like, I was just going to wait. I'm going to wait it out. I'm going to wait it out until everything's fine. Hopefully the world will be in a better place in December for TFCon Toronto. I don't think so, but I'm hoping, and we'll see. Look, same thing. Then we have TFCon LA in March of 2022. Then you have TFCon Chicago. Like, there's in 2022, but I think that one's going to be in October. So, like, I hope the world's in a better place than I could come see all of you guys. You know what I mean? Like, the world is nutty. The world is still nutty right now. Everything is nutty right now. Yeah, DairyCon has a Facebook page. I've been aware of DairyCon for 2 decades, and for the longest time, it was on my holy triforce of Transformer conventions to do. It was always TFCon, BotCon, and DairyCon. That's how it always was with me. I would always want to do those 3 shows in one year. Obviously, you know, doing BotCon for years, and now BotCon isn't a thing for the time being. It will be back. But I'd love to see that again, where all 3 shows exist and I could do all 3 in a year. 80s nostalgia has been relevant for about 15 years. Oops, someone pushed it up. One sec. I missed it. Where'd it go? Ah, here we go. 80s nostalgia has been relevant for 15 years. Will we never generally get a 90s nostalgia era? The problem with the 90s nostalgia era is it's a lot of video game kids. There's a lot of kids that grew up in the 90s on Mighty Max and Street Sharks and, you know, Cowboys and Moo Mesa and Ninja Turtles, but they also grew up with PlayStation and Super Nintendo and you know, Game Boy Advance and Pokemon, and there's such a push for that more video game lean that there is 90s nostalgia, but it's video games. And as someone who runs video game conventions, I see that hard, unfortunately. Lizard Sphere X. Love seeing that name. Lizard Sphere X, what's up? Lizard Sphere X with the super chat. I'd love it if they did a Combiner Wars style set. I am bad at reading that stuff. Stratarian that broke down into 20 master size 4 deluxe 1 core and 2 liter figures. What am I even reading here? I do that. First of all, if it was Combiner Wars style, you would have those gigantic port pieces which would get in the way of everything. Michael Koo says TFCon Chicago, I'll be there. Awesome. Well, hopefully I'll be there too. Really hope so. I really hope so, guys. I really hope so. You know, like, I just want this world to get back to normal so we could do the con thing again. Like, this is technically, that TFCon that passed was technically the first time I've missed, like, my regular Transformer conventions in a while. In a very long time. Very, very long time. The only other time was Charlottesville TFCon. I skipped that one. But that one was snake bit from the beginning. But yeah, we'll see what happens. You know, every month I feel like we're having this conversation. You know, then it'll be November. We'll see what happens. Then it'll be December. We'll see what happens. January, February, March, April, May. You know, we'll see. We'll see. They're making it tougher for flights because they want to look, the whole big V is because people crossing borders or flying in. And I understand it. I understand it completely. Does TFCon stand for Taco Friday? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. You figured it out. That's what it really stands for. This was never a Transformer convention. It was always about tacos. Always. Always. Let's see here. TFCon in Chicago. I'll be there for sure. Only 2 hours away from me. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. The Chicago shows are good. That's why they've gone back to them so many times in the past, because it's a good location. There's a lot of good food locally there, which is when you do conventions, that's so key, is to have good local food around so you don't have to use the hotel, which is always pricey. And there's a lot of really good local food in that Chicago area. And it's just something where, the way I see it, we're probably going to be seeing that Chicago location a lot in the future. It's always going to be like, the way that I see it, East Coast TFCons will always be Chicago and Washington, and once in a while mixing it up. And West Coast will primarily be LA, just because it's LA, and you have to keep it in LA because then you can get all those guests a la cheap. You know what I mean? When you do it, like a lot of people hated BotCon when they did LA, and they hate TFCon for doing LA. But when you do LA, you could have like 50 guests because you don't have to fly anyone in. You just literally go, hey, every single voice actor in G1 ever that literally is a 30-minute drive away from the convention, we have a free table waiting for you as a guest if you want. When you're at a convention and you could get a free guest, and all you have to do is just give them a table, and they're 30 minutes away, and you don't even have to pay for anything, and they just get to show up and make money and get praised by fans, LA is the way to go. There's a reason why SDCC is there and everything. You know, they're all there, man. They are all there. David Mendenhall, the voice of Daniel from the 86 movie, Daniel Witwicky, just when we were doing TFCon LA, he just showed up. Just showed up because the show was happening. And then he's just like, hey, what's up? And then he's like, can I get a table? Like, just showed up. He was probably like, I don't know, 10 minutes away. You know? You have to understand why they do those West Coast shows. You know? Doorless Wheat wants to know, do you think we will get a lug nut anytime soon? Yeah, probably. I think that the only reason why Clobber was Clobber was, which is pretty much lug nut, but a female version, was just because they wanted to do something different with Cyberverse, but I think we'll get a new lug nut figure at some point. But keep in mind, it's going to be leaning more on that probably G1 kind of look. Kind of like, you know what, if you liked Generations lug nut, you'll probably like whatever lug nut comes in the future then. And that's a pretty pricey figure now, eh? That Generations lug nut. Michael Butcher wants to know, are you coming to TFCon Los Angeles? I'd like to, but if it's easier for me to get there. You have to understand, for a Canadian, here's how it works, right? Here's how it works for a Canadian. So, before we cross the border, doesn't matter if I have a vaccine or not. It doesn't matter if I have a vaccine or not. That doesn't even matter. They don't care about that. I'm coming from another country. So, before I even cross the border, I have to take a COVID test. Then I have to have a positive for that and then show that. Even with this, because even if I have this, I could still be carrying it. So there's that whole nightmare that they worry about. So then I have to have a positive test. So 3 days before, I got to have a test and then prove it. If I don't have in time, I could miss my flight, and then I'm late to the con, and then I don't get in on Friday. So there's that nightmare. Then when you land, right, keep in mind, I have to do the same thing going back. I need a test, and it takes 3 days to get generated. So when I land, if I'm going to be at the con for 3 days, the first thing I do when I land is not get my car and get to the hotel and relax. I have to take another COVID test and have that done. and then deal with that headache. And now here's the problem. I'm Canadian. I have to pay for it. In my country, I don't got to pay for that stuff. But there I have to pay for it. And because it's a rapid one, and I need it done quickly and sent to my phone so I can then get back home so I don't miss work on Monday and don't get yelled at my boss, I have to pay $175 American for that test. I'd rather stay at home and buy something for $175 American on eBay. And then there's all the other headaches. All these other headaches. Did I say positive? I'm sorry, I meant negative. Again, I don't even know this because I'm not bothering with it. That's the problem. I'm not even considering the travel until this goes to normal mode. And then when you get to the con, I want to be able to chill. I want to be able to relax. I want to be able to go to room parties that are packed with people and having a good time. The thing is that Transformer conventions and a lot anime conventions, the conventions where people hang out, those are really fun. But when you can't do that because the world is on its head, it doesn't make it as fun. And to me, it's like I rather just chill at home and do this with you guys than go to the hotel, do the con, sit at a table with Aaron Archer or something, autographs, whatever, everything, shopping, and then I have to go back to my room and lock myself up because we all can't hang out. And I can't go to room parties, and I can't go to sales parties, and I can't go to parts parties, and I can't go out with people and sit in a restaurant and have a good time. It's because everyone is from different countries and we all don't know where we're coming from, so we can't go to restaurants and take off our masks, and it's a nightmare. It's such a mess that I just want to go back to normal. That's all it is. And when we go back to normal, brothers and sisters, we are going to have such a good time. You have no idea. It's going to be like a renaissance. I'm telling you, man. It's going to be a renaissance. But yeah. And I think we have 1 minute left. We have 1 minute left. We have 1 minute left for everything here. Is there any other questions? Pert, have you ever been to Japan? Yes, once. It was a long time ago. And my friend Hydra keeps bugging me to come back. And we'll rock out one day and do that too. I want to do more traveling again. I mean, it sucks. Like when you think about it, guys, it's like we lost almost 2 years of our lives already, and if the average person is lucky to live, 100 years, we lost a good chunk of it already just from this craziness. And it sucks, but I want it to end already just so we could get back to enjoying all the stuff. Going to sushi. Oh, God, I miss going to all-you-could-eat sushi. My God, do I miss that. And the thing is, for me, it's not just about, doing it, you wear the mask and all that. I want to do things to the extreme. I want to do it like how it was before. Not do stuff half-assed is the best way to put it. Same thing, I run conventions here locally. And people keep asking me, when am I going to run my next shows? And I told them, I'm going to run it when the world's back to normal. I don't want to run a half-assed convention where I'm going to have my poor people dealing at the front with all the craziness that's going on and people getting angry and yelling and, tight spaces. And, there's only so many people you could have in a room. So the dealers get screwed over because, there can only be so many dealers in the room and they have to pay for a certain table, but they can only have 20 people in the room at a time because there's COVID space violations. And it's something where I rather just sit at home and talk to you people instead than have to deal with that. But that's for another time and another thing. We're at 2 hours. Had to end on a bit of a somber note, I guess. But thank you, everyone who comes and hangs out. Thanks, everyone who supports the podcast. All the people, all the peeps that are YouTube members, Patreon guys. Patreon's down there if you're interested in joining the Patreon. People who donate to the podcast whenever we do our streams. All the regulars, all the cool dudes, all the awesome guys, all the green faces for all the YouTube members too that help out. You know, thanks again for everything, guys. You know, we work hard at this podcast to give you daily news. I hope you guys learn stuff every time. That's the reason why I invented this podcast, was to educate a fandom that every time I read those forums, there was just so much ignorance that just it boiled my blood. And when you sit with guys from Hasbro, like some that are here today in the chat, and the ignorance that we have to be faced with, it's crazy. I'm always happy to have you guys. Hope you learned something today. Hope you have a great Halloween tomorrow with your family, your friends, or otherwise in this crazy world we live in. But as crazy as this world is, it's still a beautiful world. It's still an awesome world. There's still so much cool stuff in it and cool stuff to hang out with. So as like I always say, guys, and always, roll out.